Jack, grade 2023 for me in terms of progress, effort and fun.
2023, I mean, it was, in terms of a grade, it's kind of hard to give it one. Progression was definitely there from the early stages, I think. You know, we adapted rather quick and was able to do some pretty good things straight off the bat. Progression throughout the year maybe didn't go as much as I'd like, but then towards the back half of the season, you know, we really got comfortable with the bike and we were able to start challenging back for positions where we needed to be. And then, of course, crashing out our last race wasn't ideal, but out of the lead. But, you know, it was a fun year. Definitely give it a 10 on the scale of fun. I mean, it was a year of learning, a year of growth for me as a person, as a rider. Of course, the birth of my daughter made 2023 all the more special, and also finding my new home at KTM. In general, it was an awesome year for me, both personally and professionally. And I look forward to taking what we've learnt last year and putting it into practice this year. There's a lot of things that I'd like to change and a lot of things that I'd like to do differently. And then there's also some things that I want to keep the same. So we're enjoying it. We will continue to enjoy it and we'll bust our butt and try to improve this year.
You could label 2023, professionally at least, as fast, but not quite as fast as you would have liked. Tell us 3 ways in which you'd like to improve that for this year.
For this year, I mean, I'd love to try and improve, first of all, consistency. There was a lot of races last year where we were in a great position and we threw it away. And I put that down to learning the bike, learning myself, learning what I can do, what I can't do on it. Because a lot of the times when I did drop the bike, it was kind of when I felt like I couldn't really put a foot wrong. The bike felt really, really good. So that's definitely one thing to learn from. And yeah, I mean, speed and, let's say, not so much distractions, but just getting lost a little bit in terms of setup and chasing our butt. When you're trying to build a new project, it's very easy to get misled or go down the wrong track and then have to, you know, swallow your pride almost and backtrack a little bit and try to find what direction you need to keep working on. So we did a lot of that last year and it's definitely something that I don't feel like doing again this year.
Jack, it was a new bike and a new team. How did you deal with the process of having questions about what you could do and what you could do as a team to improve, but then also with all the fans and the followers of MotoGP looking at you in that new structure and then saying, you know, can Miller still do it? Can he still push? Can he still achieve? How do you kind of deal with that whole kind of fuss?
Well, I mean, the dealing with the fuss is all a part of it. I've been dealing with it my whole career pretty much. When it comes down to, you know, can he still do it? Because the amount of times people have said I can't, and then I've been able to prove them wrong is more often than not. And, you know, being able to prove a lot of people wrong already in the first year of being on this bike, you know, where a lot of people said that we'd be, you know, going here or going there, going home basically after 1 year on the bike. And I think we've, you know, churned a lot of people in that favour. And then also a lot of people were talking a lot about the whole project and about the bike itself. And it wasn't probably one of the most sought after bikes last year. And I mean, coming into 2024, I think we've definitely changed public opinion on that one. And I definitely take a big sense of pride in being able to do that, showing that you can ride this bike and different riding styles do work on this bike. Brad, myself and Augusto last year were able to prove that with 3 very different riding styles and all able to do a decent job.
So Jack, after 1 year in the system, from what you see and what you've experienced, how are KTM able to use their resources and work as a group to bring new things, to bring new ideas?
Yeah, I think firstly you just got to look at what they've done in other championships in the past and go back through KTM's racing history, I guess, that they are extremely, let's say, result driven. They will do anything to improve the results and to win. There's no secret around it. They're greatly funded. You know, they pour a lot into this project and into any project that they go into. And then they've got a great group of people. You know, they've got a fantastic group of engineers and minds around the project, trying to come up with new ideas, come up with better ideas, come up with different strategies. So, once they sort of find an idea or find a pathway that they think will help to improve, or as soon as there's a little bit of evidence, they're all in on that idea and they'll throw everything they can at it to get it to the track as soon as possible. So I think having that power and having that motivation and that backing from a company is awesome to be a part of as a rider, and to have that level of support. But also it comes with a great responsibility, because, these guys are giving you their all the time, so you're expected to give it back. And I mean, it's easy to give it back, but sometimes you can only deliver what you've got, and sometimes what you got isn't good enough, so you're always trying to push for that little bit extra. But no, I think we all appreciate it, and I'm very fortunate to be in the position I am, to work with the people that I do, and it's a great privilege to be a part of this factory and this company, and be a part of a project that's willed along by so many great people.
To be the first to win with 3 different brands and the third rider to win with the KTM RC16, is this one of the peak goals for 2024?
Definitely, it was on the cards. That was my main goal in 2023, and it didn't come true. Got close there on the last day, but it wasn't to be. But no, I think it's just made me all the more hungry for this year. Just finding that confidence, which is a massive thing in our game, confidence and understanding and trusting in your ability and in your machine. For sure, there are days sometimes when you're struggling or whatever, that you start to sort of doubt yourself, or a lot of questions start coming in your head. But the end of 2023, the way it sort of ended, left me so hungry throughout this winter to come back and try and achieve that goal that I set last year, and try to become the first to win on 3, and of course the third to win on a KTM.
Jack, how complicated is it to know that you're still learning, you never stop, but then also focus really on those final pieces of performance, to make sure you're at your best? I mean, it's like a balancing act there, right?
It is a balancing act, definitely, and it's easy to be distracted or lose your way a little bit, because there's so many moving parts in the whole project and the whole process. So it is kind of hard to manage it all, I guess you could say, and try to focus on what is important and where your attention needs to lie, I guess you could say. But through my years of experience and so on, I mean, not to say that I don't still make mistakes, or I don't still, lose focus or lose track. I'll be lying, but it definitely helps with the experience that I've had, and I definitely feel every year I kind of get better at focusing my energy into the things that matter, and not so much in the things that don't.
Can you talk a bit about the respect and trust you have in a machine that can take you to 360 Ks, but then also the group behind you that's making sure it's as safe as it can be and it's as good as it can be?
The trust, I think, is never been questioned. I don't think you can question it, because the moment you start to question any of those kind of things, you shouldn't be out there, because, I mean, that's already taken away from your performance. If you're thinking about that sort of stuff, I trust these guys with my life, literally. Every time I put the helmet on and go out there, like you say, the bike does 350, 360 k an hour every lap. Every time you sit up, you need to know that they're going to be there, the brakes are going to be there, the wheels are going to be there, that bits and pieces aren't going to fall off. So that comes down to the mechanics, and fortunate enough to work with some of the best I've ever worked with, and a great group of guys around me. And then, your engineers, I mean, just trusting them, especially when they bring in new stuff. They've done all the testing that needs to be done to know that the part's going to last and it's going to stay strong, especially when you start testing new chassis and stuff like that. So the trust is there 1,000%, because if you don't have the trust, then, you're lost already. So these guys do a great job in reassuring and also improving how that I can lay my trust in them.
When you leave the pit box, I mean, there's fist bumps, there's a feeling that you can look these guys straight in the eye, and there's a real kind of connection, personally and professionally. I guess MotoGP fans don't always see the team aspect behind everything that goes on, but as you were referring to there is a real need for having these people behind you. Otherwise, this is not going to work.
No, it won't. 100%. And you can't just get any Joe Blow off the street. I mean, there's fantastic mechanics out there all around the world, I'm sure. But the group of guys that KTM have, and a lot of these MotoGP teams have, at the end of the day, you put your life in their hands. And I mean, there is a sense of camaraderie there for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, we spend, 22 rounds a year, and then that's not including travel days and so on. We spend all that time together. So at the end of the day, these guys sort of become your family, and especially for me being Australian, on the other side of the world, myself and Ruby, these guys kind of become your only friends, and you spend majority of your time with them week in, week out. So there is a lot of respect, there's a lot of love, and it's just a sign of appreciation as well from my point, just to tell them, thank you for your work, and we got this, and, we're in this together kind of thing. Because those guys do bust their butts, like I said, week in, week out. They're working there till 3 in the morning, and then they're coming back at 6:37 to finish the job off. You can't help but just respect and admire these guys for what they do, for their love of racing, for their love of motorcycles in general. It's an awesome feeling to be a part of.
Lastly, Jack, explain to people, who see you maybe miss Q2 by, 2 milliseconds or whatever. I mean, how difficult is it to live with those fractions of a second in those parameters, because it's barely comprehensible to many, but, somehow you have to find those slithers on the track. I mean, how do you deal with that mentally?
You're never looking at the next guy anyway. So if you've missed Q2 by 0.002 of a second or whatever, I'm never looking at the 10th place guy. You're always looking at, well, okay, why am I, 11th? Why am I not, in that top 5? Why, when I got a buffer, where is the big pieces of the time that I need to make up? And sometimes those big pieces of time can be 2-3 tenths. That's it, between, first and 11th. So, of course, there's always those milliseconds, but I definitely don't look at them like that, because that's not the position that we're aiming for. The position you're always aiming for is the top spot, and whether you miss Q2 by 0.2 or you miss it by half a second, either way you didn't make it. So why didn't you make it? Why is the guy in front doing the times he's doing, and why aren't I? So that's sort of my way of looking at it, and my way of working out, okay, I need to improve here, there and everywhere to try and better for the next session, or obviously for qualifying or the race.